Greetings Architecture 2 and Practicum students. What I'm going to go over with you in this video is placing your receptacles. That's the final thing, and it's really not that hard. It's pretty simple. There are a couple of things you kind of have to keep in mind, but what we're going to do is to place receptacles. Now I'm going to use this room right here to start with as an example. This is a living room. Okay, and there's actually some rules that we kind of go by, and it's real easy to stay within those rules. And the rules are, now I don't have the code manual to show it to you right now because they kind of post it a little bit differently than what they used to. And I have to get access to the electrical code. So anyway, without having access to that, I can tell you what I remember, and basically that when you're placing the receptacles, for one, a rule of thumb, this is not part of code, but a rule of thumb is just make sure you provide plenty of, access to electrical outlets for people to plug in things that they're going to have in each individual room. You got to think about what are people going to use in these certain rooms. You know, a living room obviously is going to be a lot of times an entertainment center. It could have a lot of different electrical components to it. TVs, VCRs, or not really VCRs, but DVD players, DVRs, video game consoles, things like that. So you need to provide enough for that. And you also have to think in terms of, well, how are they going to clean this house? They might have some sort of an electrical a vacuum cleaner or a buffer or something like that. They're going to have to plug in various different locations. So the rule of thumb to take care of all that is to make sure that you have at least one receptacle on every wall. If not more. If there's a wall that looks like in your design, if you're designing a certain wall to host a entertainment system, then you would put several receptacles on that wall, probably right in the middle, so that you can plug in all those different components. Okay. And like in bedrooms and things like that, you want to think about other things that people plug in. Again, same thing with vacuum cleaners and possibly entertainment centers, maybe not, but definitely charging cell phones at night and stuff like that. So you'll want that to be accounted for also. So let's look in Revit and see where we actually get these devices. We go into the electrical device, which is under the Systems tab. And we're going to go to electrical fixture. And the way I do this is I usually load them all into my plan to begin with. And I think I've already have I loaded those already? I don't think so. I didn't so we're going to load family and then go down to electrical, architectural, let's see, electrical power, terminals. Okay, it's going to be under terminals. We don't want to use the floor. That's typically used in commercial applications, and it's really not a popular thing to do anymore because you got the receptacles right on the floor and people spill water and whatever in them. That's not good. And typically what you're going to use here is you're going to use this duplex outlet. And what this is just your standard outlet. If you look on your wall in your bedroom or wherever, and it's got like two places you can plug in an electrical cord, that's what it is. That's what a duplex is. And in here, like let's say you have one of those plates on the wall that has maybe 2 or 3 sets of those duplex receptacles in it. Well, we're just going to place 2 or 3 of these symbols side by side to represent all of those. And of course, when they come and they finish out the electrical in the house, they'll actually put a single plate that will cover all 3 of those receptacles. So we're just going to use the duplex outlet for our standard everyday outlets around the room. Okay, so again, here this is a rule that's regarding building code, is that when you place receptacles, they have to be within 6 feet of any obstruction and no more than 12 feet apart. So what is an obstruction? Well, an obstruction is a corner or a doorway or anything like that. And as you can see, the code is pretty broad, so it's almost impossible not to meet code. But if I take it and I put a receptacle right here, that's clearly within 6 feet of this door and 6 feet of this corner. So I'll place one right here in the center of that wall. And of course, it doesn't look like they're going to use a whole lot of electricity back here other than possibly a vacuum cleaner or something like that. Along this wall is a little longer, and of course, there's a possibility of maybe using a little bit more on these walls. So I'm going to place one between these two windows, and then one right here on this, close to this corner. And that's for these two chairs in case they want to put a lamp or something, a reading lamp by those two chairs, or maybe whoever sits there wants to plug up a cell phone all the time. Here is the entertainment center. So we're going to place a few back here for the entertainment center. And that will allow them to plug all of their entertainment components in. This right here is a breakfast bar type of thing. I'm going to put one right here on the edge on both sides. And that's going to, again, allow them to plug in, vacuum cleaners, and even if they're sitting here at the table and maybe they want a cell phone. I mean, a lot of people do that. They sit at the breakfast table with their cell phone and they need to charge it up while they're eating their breakfast and getting ready to go to school or work or something like that. Okay, so that's just kind of a general room, and I'm just going to go over some of these other rooms. Like in a bedroom, you want to think about, maybe putting a couple next to the bed, one on each side, so that you can plug in a lamp on a nightstand next to the bed on each side. And two, they will definitely want to plug in their cell phone there as well. And you want to get some of these other walls as well. We can go on both sides of this window, which is a good idea. Just put one back here on this wall and then one right here on this wall. And it takes care of that. Now, there's a difference when it comes to kitchens and bathrooms. Okay, so I'm going to go up to load family again, and I'm going to go to the GFI receptacle. Click on that one. And the GFI receptacle in Revit automatically places it at a proper height. It places it right above counter height. Your counters are, 36 inches tall, and this places it just above that. So in a kitchen, the rules are a little bit different. You want to be within 1 foot of a obstruction, such as a corner, and you want there to be no more than, I think, is it 24? I think it's 48 inches apart, but you'll really actually put more than that in there. With today's environment of all the technology that we have, all the electrical things, especially in a kitchen, you got toasters and mixers and several types of mixers and processors and bread cookers and all kinds of stuff, crock pots, when you name it. So it's really good to put receptacles just about anywhere you can think to put one. Don't really overdo it. You don't want to be ridiculous, but so I'm going to start right here by this corner and put one above that, and I'm going to come over probably about right in here and put another one. And I'm going to put one over here kind of close to the stove. And these are GFI receptacles. You got to have GFI in this circumstance because this is a kitchen and the receptacles could get exposed to water. They could have water splashed up upon them, or the person using the receptacle may be wet. I do not recommend ever doing that. If you're plugging something in, make sure you're completely dry. But what happens if there is an electrical short of some nature, then it will trip that particular receptacle. And then that's going to make things a lot safer, and hopefully no one will get electrocuted. Okay, so again, kind of over here on the side of the sink, I thought this was a stove earlier, but it's actually a sink. So, but yeah, putting those on each side of the sink, each side of the stove is a good place. Right here, there's going to be a refrigerator, it looks like right here, so I'll put one there. And there's a little bit of cabinet space over here. We can actually put one there as well. No, actually, the refrigerator is over here. I'm not sure what goes in that spot. But anyway, we've got a receptacle there for whatever it needs to be. And then one right here. So that is, and again, looking at, money and budget, these receptacles, they cost money, but they're not very expensive. And you can just about afford to put these anywhere. Bathrooms, the same thing. Bathrooms will have receptacles. Now you got 2 sinks right over here, so it's probably best to put one by each sink. So We get someone who can, shave, and someone else who can use their blow dryer. Don't put one by the tub. Okay, don't even do that. We're just going to put one right over here on the other side of the wall in case you want to plug in a heater of some sort. But do not put one over here close to the tub. There's too much water over there jumping around. Over here, same thing. Put one by each sink. In this bathroom, nothing near the tub. Okay, keep it away from the tub. We'll probably put one over here on this little wall. Looks like there's a row of cabinets right there. And then that will allow anyone to plug something else in, a floor buffer or a vacuum cleaner. So that pretty much takes care of all of it. Now, sometimes too, where is our master? I think this is our master closet. You can also put one or two in a master closet. So maybe they want to stand inside the master closet and iron their clothes. And it doesn't have to be a GFI like I just placed there. It could just be a regular receptacle. Hallways, put a couple in the hallways, depending on how long the hallway is. This is a relatively long hallway. However, it is pretty good use of space. I mean, it gives access absolutely to every area without a whole lot of wasted space. Even it looks like here we've got some kind of bookshelf or something at the end of it. It is a shelving unit. So I would place in this particular hallway, I would put one here. Definitely put one here, and then probably another one down here somewhere. All right. Now, there's also outside, you want to put some weatherproof devices outside as well. And I think we have some weatherproof. Switch dimmer single 3-way. Okay, no weatherproof, so don't even worry about that. Don't worry about weatherproof, but do put a range outlet. And there's a range outlet. It looks like there's a couple of different ones here. Let's do this one. And the range outlet is just going to go back here behind the range. That one does not place correctly, but anyway, I think that was one I was editing earlier. But anyway, just place a range receptacle right here behind the range. That way the range can be plugged in. And that's really all you have to do. So make sure you use your whole house. Don't just use a couple of rooms. Go ahead and do the entire house, placing receptacles. Don't junk it up, okay? Just think about where you're putting them and if it's actually going to be useful in that location. Don't try to put a whole bunch out there just to make sure that you get it all done, because if you overdo it, I'm not going to like that, and I'm probably going to take some points off for it being overdone. But do that, and don't worry about the weatherproof ones outside. We'll kind of work with that some other time if we need to. But you guys get the drift, and I just want you to kind of go through and practice this. And some of you already have practiced doing this. Some of you have not, okay? So if you have had practice doing it, it should be pretty easy for you. But that is all I've got. Now, once you finish all this, just make sure you do your lighting, your light fixtures, run all your wire. Of course, you got to put your switches in first, but your light fixtures, your switches, run your wires, okay, and then put your receptacles. There's no wires or anything like that goes to the receptacles. They're just place them on the drawing just like that. That is it. Once you get this turned in, this will be the end of this particular assignment. And then we're going to have a little test, just a real short test at the end, just asking you a few questions about what we did during this whole lighting thing. So hopefully you've paid attention and you can recall some of the information that we have talked about. If not, just make sure that you watch the videos again so that you can get some of the nuances that I talk about, in addition to just learning how to place the receptacles and things like that in certain places. So that is it, guys. If you have any questions, please email me. I would appreciate it.